are you going to Brendan's memorial? And I said, well, yeah, I've got to be there because I got to say something for my friend. Very fortunate to have known Brendan through the late 70s, 80s, 90s, all the way up through the weekend that he passed away. Well, I told him that you had to go pee, so yeah. That's Bob. My name's Keith. Anyways, I was a member of Black Flag, and we would rehearse. We'd get through about 10 o'clock. We'd get in the car. We'd race up to Hollywood to make it to the Mass to catch a few bands. And the first time that I ever met Brendan, it was, you're going to let my band play here? I'm in this band called Black Flag. We're from Hermosa Beach. You're going to let us play? Of course, also at this time I would like to say hello from Dutch Michaels. Anybody remember Dutch? The big blonde-haired guy that rode the little Honda 50, looked like a badass biker from the 50s, and kind of like the blonde-haired Ramon. And that would be about the time that I would be lifted off the ground and carried up the stairs and tossed out into the alleyway. So this went on probably for about 2 or 3 months. Brendan knew absolutely nothing about us. And eventually, after Greg Ginn apparently lied to him, like, oh, we're the vegetable farmers from Bakersfield, or, you know, we incorporate a little bit of jazz in our rock and roll. Brendan finally caved in and allowed us to play. We were the opening band out of, I think the Mau Maus might have played that night, because we ended up playing a lot of shows with the Mau Maus. Hooray for the Mau Maus. And we were so excited because it was the Mask, you know. This was where you get your christening if you're a punk rock band in Los Angeles. And we tried and tried and tried. He finally let us play. It was amazing, because what happened was we became one of his favorite bands. We're going to do a little skit that happened in, what, the 80s or the 90s over at the Club Lingerie. One particular night we're over there, and Bob and I are standing in the middle of the floor. If any of you had ever been to the Club Lingerie, you know that that floor holds probably about 300 people. So Bob and I are standing there, we're looking around. The only other people there are the people that work there. And Brendan. And we're watching Flock of Seagulls.
This is where I come in. And so I say to Brendan, what the fuck did you book this for? And he goes, it was only $1,500. I thought it would draw better than this. And it was like, but I wanted to say some things about Brendan. I'm younger, as Keith said, much younger. And I met Brendan when I was 21 years old, and I realized that was in 1982 or something. And what he was to me was like an older brother, but I think nowadays in this Oprah Winfrey therapeutic world, of which I'm a part of, he was like my life coach. He really was. He told me what everything was about, and how, he's the first person that told me how to phase one record out. I was a DJ at Cathay de Grande. He showed me how to phase records out. And one time, I got a little carried away with crystal meth. I don't know if you're familiar with this drug. So Brendan tried to do a Brendan intervention on me. So I said, Bobby, I want to talk to you. And he dragged me into the office at the lingerie, and he said, you can't be doing that drug. The Nazis invented that drug, Bobby. Oh gosh, okay, I'll stop. But, there was a real mean-spiritedness to him that nobody's going to talk about today, but he didn't like me much, and then later on, the last time I saw Brendan, the last 10 years have been just so beautiful, and he's doing this book. I don't know a lot of you know about it, and he would schedule me to come over to his house to be interviewed for this book. And so, and he would schedule it like a week in advance, and then I'd call him the day before and say, okay, at 1 o'clock or whatever, and then you get there, and anytime you get to Brendan's house, he always acts startled that you're there. Like, oh my God. "Oh, come in, Bobby, come in." It was like he didn't know you were coming or something. So, and then doing an interview, I don't know if Hal got into the great details, a lot of you know, it's mostly Brendan talks. And then you say, yeah, and you try to say something, and you know, and then and here, and he explains how the book is going to be and what it all meant. And it was just so beautiful the last few years that I spent with Brendan. But Keith, you know,
Look, Bob, getting back to...
you get dressed up.
Getting back to the books that Brendan has written, that's a great thing that he's going to leave us with, all of these books. He and I somehow got finagled by this. The people that used to be Flipside turned into Razor Cake, and they have a magazine that comes out. It's the same kind of format. And they somehow talked him into coming down to Track 16 in Santa Monica to do a reading out of We've Got the Neutron Bomb. He actually called me up and invited me to come along with him because apparently he didn't know how to read out of his book. And what is the way the book is set up is that they're all like interviews, like Hal was saying. Like, here's Don Bowles, and here's John Denny, and here's Pat Bagg, and then here's Mike Watt. And so we get there, and we're kind of like doing the same thing that Bob did to me earlier this morning, and that is, what are we going to do, Keith? What are we going to do? And I said, well, what we're going to do is we're going to read out of your book. What we're going to do is we're going to open the book. Wherever we land, you're going to be the first character, I will be the second character. And it was really hilarious hearing Brendan try to impersonate Mike Watt. I mean, I can't do it, but it was just like, we went back and forth. I was lucky that I got Darby free beer, and you know, and so we went back and forth, and it actually somehow managed to be okay.